Mark Rogers TV talking Arizona State football with Kaelen Jones from House of Sparky with the Arizona State Sun Devils heading towards spring practice in just a few days on March 14th. Kaelen, we always appreciate you stopping by. I think it's pretty obvious what the number one storyline is for most college football teams, most football teams, period, but especially here at Arizona State with Mike Bercovici with 1 year under his belt plus a couple games scattered in 2014. He's gone, and the freshmen are taking over the quarterback position.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting, Mark. I mean, heading into the new year, like you pointed out, Mike Bercovici last season being a fifth-year senior, only getting his first true year as the number one starter at the helm. It's kind of sort of a turnover with him leaving as well. You also have Mike Norvell, who took the head coaching job over at Memphis, leaving as well. So it's kind of a turnover in general when you're talking about the two leaders on offense, the two components that kind of make the cog tick. When you're talking about the offensive coordinator and quarterback, you're going to look at a four-player quarterback position or quarterback battle between Dylan Sterling Cole, who will arrive in the fall, and right now you have Brady White, Manny Wilkins, and then Bryce Perkins. So you have a three-man quarterback battle heading into the spring. It'll be interesting to see how that works out, considering you have a new offensive coordinator, like we just pointed out. Chimp Lindsey comes in from Southern Miss. He runs basically the same exact system that Mike Norvell ran, both of them coming from that Gus Malzahn kind of coaching tree, where you have a spread offense that's mainly reliant upon the power running game. And with two workhorse backs in Demario Richard and Kaelen Ballage, certainly that will be pretty effective when you talk about the running game. But as far as who's leading the quarterback position, it's going to be interesting as well.
Yeah, so that kind of sets us up in regards to the personnel surrounding a new quarterback. It's always crucial, but especially when you get a young kid, he needs the protection first and foremost. So I think that's far more important than even talented running backs or reliable wide receivers. Got to be standing upright by game 12. In addition to that, though, being able to experience rapport with the wide receivers is important. Don't necessarily know that that's going to be an issue from that standpoint, but you're losing a ton of production at that position.
Yeah, you definitely are. When you're talking about Devin Lucien, DJ Foster, Gary Chambers, all those guys are leaving on from last season, moving on. But you do have three potential stars when you're talking about the wide receiver position this year. Cameron Smith, who was lost last season to a torn ACL, he returns this year. He'll be a focal point of the offense. But the two main guys that I'm going to focus on are true freshman N'Keal Harry, who was ranked as the top recruit in the 2016 class of the entire state of Arizona. Arizona State was able to reel him in. He'll step in and immediately serve as the X or 9 receiver, as it's called in the Lindsey Malzahn system. He'll be your outside receiver. And then Tim White, who's one of the most dangerous playmakers in the entire conference, if not the entire country. He'll serve as that flanker. I don't know if you've watched Auburn's offense before, but we see the kind of misdirection and more so motion within the backfield and the way that they're able to incorporate that. We can see that in a similar way that they're going to be able to use both White and Harry during this season. And I think that it's going to be something that's going to be very interesting to watch, and it could be very exciting, really.
Hey, Kaelen, let's switch sides to the other side of the football. Wide receivers, obviously, the athletic guys on offense, the defensive backs on defense, and that's where Arizona State has been extremely strong in recent years. But this secondary is pretty well shot in regards to experience heading into 2016.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a step down when you're talking about in years past. One of the bright spots that you do have is Kareem Orr, who's one of the leading interceptors last season in the conference. He'll be a true sophomore next year. Besides that, you're losing Lloyd Carrington, Crushy Brown, who were two of the leaders in the secondary, not to mention Jordan Simone. It's going to be interesting to see who can end up winning at least the secondary battles, but I think the key for ASU at this point is going to be whether or not their front seven is stable enough or at least productive enough to kind of compensate for that inexperience in the secondary. They've been able to reel in a couple JUCO names. I believe Jamarcus Rhodes is supposed to be one of the more talented guys in the secondary heading into this season. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not ASU is able to overcome that lack of experience in the secondary. But again, if Todd Graham's defensive front is more aggressive or at least productive in comparison to what they were doing last year, I think that you'll see a bit more success. It's just a matter of it coming together sooner rather than later, because even the year before, I believe in 2014, it took the team a minute, at least the secondary, to really kind of become a formidable force against opponents. But this season, Should they step up early in the year, I think that ASU can actually sneak in and be one of the better teams in the conference. It's just a matter of it coming all together.
Yeah, and that would seem to be crucial to Todd Graham's stay there in Tempe. He comes in, talks big, and in a positive way, and backed it up with a trip to the Pac-12 championship game, followed by a 10-3 campaign in which they won a bowl game over Duke, and then hopefully have not hit the ceiling and plateaued in regards to a program build-out, 6-7 last year, and then with all the losses. And every college football team is experiencing losses, but at quarterback is obviously crucial. And then at two positions in which Arizona State has excelled in its history and certainly in recent years at defensive back, and talking about wide receiver. Kaelen Jones from House of Sparky, always getting us set with Arizona State football, and hopefully we can track you down in a few weeks. And Kaelen, maybe we can set up what the storylines have been throughout spring practice to date.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Mark. Thanks for having me.